Okay. Hey there, it's Stacy Santiago, and I am here with Janelle. And you just need to get all your distractions out of the way for the next few minutes here because Janelle has an absolutely fascinating story. I mean, it's just so inspiring and so interesting. So, welcome, Janelle. We can't wait to hear about this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story. And guys, I ask people who've gone through the program to share about their experience because it's so hard to think, well, does this work for me? Am I going to be the only one who doesn't get to achieve her goals? And I promise you, you're not. Okay. And the more that we can show you what's possible, the easier it is for you to say, yeah, you know what, maybe that is for me too. Okay. So we're going to start and ask Janelle some questions here. And the first one is, before you started coaching, I mean, what was going on in your life and your career? Describe the pain and the challenges.
So before I started, I was in so I'm a surgeon, so my job is very stressful and demanding, and I don't think I really appreciated quite how much I was, my job was really taking 120% of me, emotionally, physically, spiritually, just kind of draining everything that I had. And I wasn't really getting like the rewards of helping people so much as feeling the drain of all of the stress from my job. And, um, I was reaching a point where I kind of thought, I don't, I don't know that this is really the best fit for me anymore, but I have spent 20 years of education and training to get to this point. And I've also, six figures of educational debt to get here. And, when you commit on that level, you really feel, I almost felt like it would be a betrayal of the field of medicine to leave. Like that's just seemingly not done, or I don't know anyone who has done that. So I really couldn't even conceive of leaving. And I just carried around this very heavy sense of doom or despair. It was almost like a weight around my shoulders and feeling extremely trapped. I felt there was no other option for me, and really confused that I would have gotten to this point and realized it wasn't a good fit. And, I would find myself at work thinking, okay, is this all there is? Is this all there is for me? I go to clinic, I do some cases, I feel stressed out all the time. Is this all there is? And the answer cannot be yes. This cannot be all there is. But at the time, I didn't have any answers to that question. And I didn't even know that there could be answers to that question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And you feel this on different levels because you mentioned physical and also there's an emotional toll. Tell
Mm-hmm.
me about what this was costing you in these different areas of life, emotional and with your health and relationally.
Yeah, it was draining everything that I had. So I really didn't have anything to give to anyone else. So my family, my husband, and me, really, I just, I didn't have anything else to give. And I would come home so tired that I would be like, all right, let's just sit here and watch TV or something. I don't even have the energy to really engage. And I just wasn't really being a very good version of me. And I have like a little term for it. I call it like emotional arthritis, where, so in arthritis, you have no padding on your bones. You don't have any more cartilage. And so the bones are grinding together and it causes a lot of pain. So for me, it's like, yes, I don't have any um, energy or anything replenishing me to be that cartilage that pads all of the grinding of bones. And I don't know, so that's how I think of it. And it really does feel like you don't have any reserve and you're just giving it all you have, and you're not really you're not the best person you could be. And so it costs just, yourself and who you are for, your loved ones. That's what it was costing.
Mm. What did you notice was coming up for you? It's between feeling like you don't even know or like your authentic self, or that either snapping or just withdrawing and not being present with your husband and your son.
Just exhaustion, really. And also, something I've noticed since I've had more time away has been that, the creative part of me is pretty much suffocated with this work when I'm not, when I'm in this job. And it's because of all of the stress and all the emotional drain. You know, I can't, my mind can't free up to do all the artistic stuff it
Yeah.
likes to do. It's almost like a weed blanket over, suppressing creativity. And sure, maybe one or two really ambitious weeds might pop through every now and then, you get a good idea, but for the most part it's suffocating all of that. So as I've moved away from it, I've had some time away, I've noticed that I do all kinds of creative activities and it's fun. And um, so that's a huge, another part of me that was really shut down. And I didn't even realize it until I got some time away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's hard for people, is that they've suppressed, they've buried for so long emotions and who they are, just in order to survive, that they don't even know the extent of the damage
You
until.
don't realize, yeah, because it's like that story about the little frog in the pot of
Yeah.
water,
Mm-hmm.
and it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and you're so used to it, you don't realize it until it's a little too late,
Yeah.
and you've been injured. And it being in a toxic environment or just an environment where you just don't fit is really, it's emotionally damaging and spiritually damaging. It's just, it takes so much out of you. When I started this job, I felt so much enthusiasm and energy, and I was going to change this and do that and grow this. And then to be told no, or, to have your ideas rejected, to be ignored, to not be supported, just over and over again, it's demoralizing. And you start to think, uh, yeah, this isn't a good fit. Now what do I do?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and what was that break point for you? What was that point where you said, you know what, I'm ready. I got to get the right help.
It was actually, it kind of came to me. I didn't even realize how much help I needed. And I was on Facebook. It was the dead of winter, like cold, dark December night. And I saw your Facebook ad and I read it. It just spoke to me. Everything that was in it was like I could have written it myself. It just really spoke to me. And I thought, I need to check this out. And so then I watched the webinar and then scheduled a call. And when we spoke, I knew you could help me. I just knew. And I mean, I I think I just knew. I mean, just based on our conversation and everything. And then as we talked, it sort of pointed out some areas that needed to be addressed and like areas we could work on and all of those things. And then I realized, whoa, I need help. And um, Stacy's telling me I'm not trapped, and I'm ready to believe her. I just need help getting there. I need help seeing the options and seeing what the doors that could be open to me. Because right now I'm so hopeless. I was in such a hopeless state, and I didn't really realize that. And I needed help breaking free from that. So, and getting rid of that limiting belief of feeling trapped.
Mm-hmm. Yes, when you have all those three things working against you, you don't know what other options there are. You sure as hell don't have any strategy or any steps to find it.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel absolutely trapped, and your brain just has you paralyzed with this fear and just beaten down.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you get that help, you're not coming out of that by yourself.
beaten down is exactly
Yeah.
the phrase. We even joke about in surgery. It's like, oh, you got the beat down, didn't you? It's like, yeah, you do, and you don't even realize it because it's so chronic. It just sneaks up on you, and then it's like, wow, I didn't even realize how much I was suffering until we talked about it, and then I realized that you could help me, and that started to give me hope, and then that's when it took off.
Awesome. And so tell me about your journey through this coaching process. Tell me about what you discovered and what started to change for you.
So I made a commitment from the beginning to stay on target stay on track with the assignments and really keep up with it, because I wanted to get the most I could out of it and really, really sit down and do the exercises and really flesh them out, because I wanted to see all the possibilities and do all the brainstorming. And so I did that. And I think the first thing that jumped out at me was the mindset work, because I had never been introduced to that before. And it was so helpful. It was so, I mean, it's the key foundation to everything that you do. And I think, so we did it in the first lesson, but I think around week 4, we do more mindset work. And that's when it really started to click. And and I remember saying something like, well, I did the exercise, but I still keep having these same thoughts or beliefs. And I mean, I don't know why. I did the exercise already. And you're like, yeah, because it's a process. Like, it's a muscle. You have to build it. And that's totally normal. And I was like, oh, okay, good. And so I really enjoyed doing the brainstorming work and filling out my spreadsheet. And oh, and a major thing for me was discovering that just because you have a skill in something does not mean that it's something that actually serves you. So just because you're good at something doesn't mean that you should necessarily do that, because some skills are burnout skills. And I had never heard of that term before. So that was really, really eye-opening. And as I worked through that more, I realized some of my skills that are burnout skills are only burnout skills because I don't have boundaries or limits on them. And a lot of that has to do with interpersonal relationships, like listening and counseling and, giving my time in a social way and those types of things. Like, I can do it really well, but I've always found it draining. That's because I don't set a limit on how much I can do that or in what environment I'm going to do that. So I think when I discovered just because you have a skill doesn't mean you need to do that. And B, some of your skills that are burnout skills can actually be converted to helpful skills if you put the right boundaries around them. So that was really, really helpful. And then, there's so many things.
Well, I'll pause you there too. So it's really interesting because what you're sharing here is part of it is that data of you, of getting that full picture of, wait a minute, so my skills here, I really need to understand what's fulfilling for me and what's not. But then there's also that communication, that relational component, and certainly the mindset. It's like, what's going on underneath the hood, all that stuff you couldn't touch before. And it's both of those that starts to kind of work this magic. And I remember it was a few weeks in, and you wrote me this email and you said, Stacy, this is mind blowing. I'm not exaggerating.
No. It was probably around that week 4 when I started saying, like, are you psychic? Because, like, basically I was writing that, and then I saw in the lesson, and then you said the same thing, and then I had this question, and then before I could even ask you, it came up in the lesson anyway, and you answered. It was just like, yeah, it was very, it was mind-blowing, and it's not an exaggeration.
I love that. Awesome. So tell me about how your career has evolved now. Tell me about how you've moved from just beaten down, trapped, into this whole new just life of possibility.
So the first thing was doing a lot of work reframing and really isolating out that belief, that the belief that you're trapped and there's no other opportunities for you, and this is all you're ever going to have. because I knew intellectually that that could not be true. And I believed you when you backed me up on that. You're like, no, this is ridiculous. You're never trying. But I somehow needed to make that connection between my intellectual brain and my real emotional belief system. Like I needed to break through there. So did a lot of reframing. And then over time, I started to develop my business. And as I did that, one day I just realized, wait a minute, I'm proving to myself that this is true through my actions. So it's not just thoughts, it's actually actions too that prove that, you're not trapped. You have created this new business for yourself. You have you have all kinds of new ideas, and now you're seeing possibilities. And so, even though I was still working through some of that emotionally, like believing that new belief and letting go of the old belief, I still was pushing through with the action. And then I started to realize, hey, I'm actually doing this. Like, you know, I just gained more momentum with changing that old belief. And so that's kind of how I kind of progressed. And then, where I am now is I'm still transitioning out of my old position and looking for like a bridge position that will kind of give me, support me financially without without that emotional stress drain aspect that I currently have. So, and I have a plan for, transitioning out, and I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, developing an online business for helping other physicians to actually improve their finances and work on personal finances and things like that. And it's just been really fun, very exciting, and like just creatively stimulating, and just I enjoy the topic and I like to teach. And so all those things. For example, I had listed teaching as a burnout skill, but I actually really love to teach, but in a certain way, so teaching online in a video is really fun for me, but teaching in person and repeating myself every single day is not fun for me. So I found a way to use that skill so that it can be like fun and not a burnout skill.
I love that. So you're clear on your ideal is you've been able to translate what the motivated skills are, what is going to be most fulfilling for you. Because we talked about there's a lot of fulfillment factors in play, and you are able to distill those down into that best fit, which is your own business. And
Mm-hmm.
you're building that now, and you're about to roll that out in another month or so, and it's going to launch, and that's where you're going with that. And it's amazing to see you have so much peace and lightness and just fun in your day. It's like you've come back to life just
Mm-hmm.
with hope and joy and energy. And it's just wonderful. It's almost like you've had a chance to come home, you've had a chance to heal, and it's like now you have a future again.
Yeah, I have hope and a vision, and thanks to you. Absolutely.
Amazing. It's just
Yeah.
so wonderful. And so for you, Janelle, I mean, why was this coaching worth the investment for you?
It's priceless. I mean, you can't put a price on, first of all, hope and joy, um, positivity, developing a new positive mindset. And that doesn't just apply to your career goals, it applies to your whole life. Um, Feeling like a totally different person, just like all of these things. It really is, like you had said, coaching from the inside out. It is developing yourself from within, so that you can really be your best self. And that, I mean, I can't really put a price on that. It's invaluable. And so, um, I think it's more than worth every penny, because it's such a tremendous gift that you're giving to yourself, so that you can come home, and so that you can, be that person that you really want to be, and that maybe you didn't even know was in there because you're so traumatized by your poorly fitting role that, at least for me, that I was in, and being so shut down and drained. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't even have imagined it would have gone like this. Like, this has surpassed any kind of dream that I had. I was just hoping for some improvement, and now I just feel like I'm in a whole different world, and it's been fantastic. So
Oh, I love that. Oh, okay.
yeah.
So what advice do you have for people who are watching and who may be struggling just in the same situation and who may just be thinking about really changing their lives?
I would say, even if you don't realize you might need help, ask for help. Seek out help, because it wasn't even until I really started asking for help that I started to even understand what the problem was. I knew emotionally I was hurting, and I knew I didn't feel good, but but I still didn't put two and two together, like maybe somebody could help me with this. And it was just lucky that I saw your ad and I was like, wow, she can help me. And so I would say, take the help, go with it. Because you can only win. There's no way that you can lose anything. Like, even if you're concerned about it from a financial investment perspective, like, you cannot lose. This investment is, you know, it's an investment in you as a person and your growth, and unlocking all of these potentials and possibilities that you can't see when you're like in a really horrible place. But when you get coaching, then you start to see all of these possibilities for yourself. And so, you know, as a result of coaching, not only have I found a new career, and it's not to say that I don't necessarily need to leave medicine, but just at least now I can do it on my own terms, in a way that wouldn't drain me if I want to. I don't even know if I do right now, but I have something that I couldn't have even imagined before. And it's because of coaching and working with you. And so and not to mention the fact that will pay off financially in and of itself, like just that business will grow. And so, I just think you cannot go wrong with coaching. You can't go wrong with getting help. And you have only one direction to go, which is up, and improve. So I would say, if anyone is wondering if they should try it, the answer is yes. Because you just can't even imagine like all of the things you're going to discover as you go. And that being said, it's you as the person who's going through it, you have to give 110% too. You can't just expect the coach to do everything, or like sit back and like, okay, now tell me all these things. It's like, you only get there through working through the process, going through the exercises, brainstorming, talking with you, getting the feedback, doing the phone calls, asking questions, all of those things, because it's the exercises, but then the interactions and the feedback that really like propel you to the next level. So it's like, it's the whole thing. It's a interwoven kind of fabric. You give as much as you can, and then you give to us as much as you have, and then everybody, and it just takes on a life of its own, like exponentially blossoms. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and I love that you say that too. It's so true that the inside of the jar can't read the outside label.
No.
We're in there in our jar, like, well, okay, I see my life and I know this, but you don't know what you don't know, because you're inside the jar. And I
Yeah.
promise you, what you see on the outside is going to change your world. It just will. And
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, I mean, the ROI is it's beyond what you can imagine. And so I love that. I love that for you, and what you're going to do to be able to share your highest talents now in a way with people who need that. And it's wonderful, because in a way that you didn't feel like you could make that impact before, it wasn't meaningful and fulfilling. Now you have a way where it is. And I love that for you, because your gifts, your talents are absolutely needed in the world. And to be able to know, okay, I've found meaning and purpose here, and I am empowered. I have everything it takes to create that and to self-direct that for the rest of my life. You have the superpower other people don't. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And so thank you so, so much for sharing your story with us today. It's incredibly inspiring. You know, just when you think there isn't anything else, there's always a way. And, you know, if you're invited into this, it's because we're 100% confident we can help you. And you accepted that challenge. You said, game on, let's do it. And you showed up, because you are the only variable. You show up to play, you're going to get that outcome, and you did it. And I love it. I love you. You're amazing and wonderful. And I'm happy you're in my Best Life Alliance too. And I hope you stay there forever.
Really?
Yes, that's right. I love our little family there. But yeah, so thank you so much for sharing everything you did today with us. And yes, we'll, of course, I see you, you know, at least every other week in our Best Life Alliance. So yeah, thank you for sharing your story. It's going to help a lot of people.
Well, thank you for giving me a story to share.
Yes.
Because I couldn't have done it without you.
So,
and I'm truly, truly grateful. Always. So
welcome. Much love for you. All right, Janelle. Thank you so, so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.